Killing it out there.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So right after this, we at least an hour in the cage with all three boys. So
So cool.
Do you remember who my cousin is?
you never told me who your cousin is.
Yes, I did. You forgot.
No, you didn't. A famous athlete?
I'm gonna grab some water.
Athlete?
Do I look like an athlete? We don't have blood in our veins for athletes.
You do have good height.
We are radio people. So the voice of the San Francisco Giants, the Hall of Fame partner of Joe Morgan on ESPN Baseball, John Miller's my cousin.
Wow, I know about John Mill. I've heard it. I actually read about him before.
He's the greatest, man. He's got the best. He's done like 25 World Series. He's unbelievably famous.
You guys are first cousins?
Yeah.
Wow. Whatever happened to you? I'm just kidding.
I got him on
That's
the radio.
cool. That's really cool, John Miller.
30 seconds.
I have no idea what we're talking about, but we just have fun.
It's all value. It's all, everybody talks about you being such a connector and such a follow-up person, and you send personal cards, and you're just such a good guy. And showing people that this business does not have to be dog eat dog and stand on somebody's
We're
head.
going live.
And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault, and it's the Tom Chenault Show. I hope you're all having an unbelievably great day. Adrian and I have been having a blast just connecting with people all day long, and we've been looking forward to our show with such unbelievable intensity and anticipation because Simon Chan is living proof that good guys finish first. He is living proof that a person can have a business and a family and change the world at the same time. And I love that about him, don't you?
I absolutely do. Simon, we're so glad you're here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for the kind words. My gosh, Tom, what I do? Was that last gift so nice that you say such nice words to me?
No,
I bribed them, by the way.
It's a total fact. And you were so big in network marketing, and you decided to pivot and spend a ton of money to be the best. And I'll never forget, I was at, I think it was a GoPro, some huge event. And all of a sudden, Simon came around the corner. I think it's when I spoke in front of the 20,000 people. It was something where I was like a big deal. And all of a sudden, here came Simon with his equipment and a microphone and a camera and all this stuff. And I could not believe this guy was this prepared, this organized. I went home and bought all the equipment he recommended I buy, but I was never able to figure out how to turn it on, so it never even left the box. But this guy has been a leader and an innovator and at the top of the list forever, Adrian.
That is 100. And you
Hey,
can tell.
I wanted to add to that story. So there's always a story before the story. So, and I know we talk about you're the master of following up, right? Adrian is the follow-up fiend. And, we talk about, that's why one of the things I love about contact mapping allows you to follow up, follow up, follow up. But before that story, before I, shoved that microphone in Tom, before that, a couple years before that, it was at ANP, which we first met. And believe it or not, everyone, I was just a peon, a nobody, and Tom Chenault never replied back to my messages, never replied back to my emails, nor Facebook messages. I guess she's going to deny this because Tom is such a nice guy. And then finally at ANP, I actually tapped and hunted him down. He sat at the back of the room. I was like, oh, that's Tom Chenault. I'm going to get him. Okay, no one knew who this Simon Chan was. And I think it was just, and then after I introduced myself, he pretended, I don't know if he remembers me or not, he pretended he never getting my messages. And then, but he's like, hey, you seem a cool guy. He actually gave me his cell phone that day. I was like, all right, you made a mistake. I'm going to follow up with you forever. And he's like, oh, I'll be on your show. And he lied. He never was. I'll be on your show next month. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen in a couple months. I think it actually took one or 2 years later. And then he was on. But I think that I'm sharing that story because I think that is how, I think this is one of the values. When you say all those nice words about me, it's like, I think the values come from my parents, my mom, my parents, and they always teach you long term. Think long term, right? If you think long term, you are going to do much better and you're going to win. If you think short term, and short term leads to like dog eat dog, me eat you, company goes out of business, I'm going to raid them, short term, and it never works out. And And a lot of times the most, Tom and I have a great relationship. We both respect each other, awesome individuals. And then I got to meet Adrian. It all comes from just thinking long term and following up and staying consistent. And yeah, but I just figured I would share that story. And the fortune is in the follow up because it took me a long time to get on your radar. But now I'm worthy. And now I'm on your show. Look at that.
So let's
miracle.
So there's a story before the story. So my last name is Chenault, Chen. And I thought his name was Simon, Chen, not Simon, Chan. So I thought this guy was some guy just chasing me around trying to steal my identity. So I was like this because I thought he'd forgotten to write the last 4 letters until I finally met him and realized what a wonderful human being he was. And then it all worked out. So that's the real truth of the matter as I made it up right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was about as flimsy a backstory as I could have possibly.
That's pretty good.
I lied,
that's a
but
pretty
it
good
worked
thing
out.
you made up in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
So,
But it's awesome. I think that's, what, you just have to be, and just to let you know, if you ever, I think in network marketing, we feel like, oh, we're bothering people. We follow up too much. I'll tell you one thing. I know for me, I know people who I looked up to, successful people always respect people who are relentless with follow up. Because most people give up right away. And I'm sure, Tom, just the fact that I keep messaging you all the time, like, it got on your radar, because most people are not, they don't follow up after a couple of times, right? Like, one of the easiest things, like when people, I get pitched all the time, and what I tell people is, right now we're focused on big projects. I can't do it, but if you follow up with me in 6-7 months, just reach out to me. I'll take a look. And I say that nicely. I don't have to tell them no. And I say, thank you for your understanding. And the good news is 95% of them never follow up with me, so I don't have to deal with them. But if you want to follow up, you will do well. Anyway, I can talk on and on. I'm taking over your show here, Tom. Sorry about that.
No,
but,
I was actually looking down to try to find your contact in my contact mapping app, because I will lay you odds that every quarter I send you a nice note, at least telling you how handsome you are and what a good guy you are. Because what you just said about whether you need somebody or not, you can't say that's when I'm going to contact people. A friend of mine just called me on the phone, says a lawyer out of the sky blue just called me up, needs $1.8 million. I'm really pissed off at him because he hasn't called me in 5 years. Now he calls me looking for $1,800,000. If he just would have followed up with me and told me he loved me every quarter, maybe I'd take his call and listen to him about getting him that money. But you can't just call people when you need them. You got to touch them when you don't. And that doesn't mean follow them up with some large conversation. Send them a text message, call them on the phone and say you love them, and get the heck out of Dodge and do the same thing 3 months later. I will tell you that has been my secret weapon over the last 30 years of being in this business, is my impeccable follow-up, with the exception of Simon Chan.
I agree. You're one of the best at it.
Yeah, I love like crazy, then love more.
I loved your story, Simon, about just knowing how few people are going to follow up, and I want to thank you because Simon is really one of the first huge influencers in network marketing that really took a chance on us with contact mapping, and we really kind of dove in together, which has been amazing. But unbeknownst to me, I think I got the Simon test, and I stayed with you, and I kept following up, right? You guys were in the middle. We first started talking, you were in the middle of something, and you said, hey, I've got something going on. Fortunately you didn't give me the 6-7 months treatment. You gave me the 2 or 3 weeks treatment, but you said, hey, I can't put any focus on this for 3 weeks. Hit me up in 3 weeks, we'll have the conversation. So 3 weeks later, bing, time to call Simon. I hit you up, and we moved that conversation through that process. And in any business, in anything that you do, there's just a huge amount of power in, if you follow through on those things, it's going to cut through the noise, because exactly like you said, 95% of people never will, right?
You give me too much credit. I wasn't as nice. Now, I wasn't as bad as your dad, 2 to 3 years to follow up, but I think it was a couple of months. And I remember when you I told you, I just gave you a random date because I wasn't ready. And you followed up with an exact date. I was like, okay, this guy is good. And I think that's a litmus test, right? And so I think as you grow as an entrepreneur, you realize you get a better judgment of people. Do you trust them? Do you follow them? Would you, go into the foxhole with them, as Tom would say, right? And I think comes back to character and values and follow up, and that's integrity, right? If you say you're going to follow up with someone, you better follow up with them, because that's a lack of integrity. Lack of integrity, integrity comes from the word integer. It means one. That means you're not doing something that you say you do. And I think that's something that, and that's the easy thing about network marketers. Like, if you just do what you say you do and stay consistent, you'll win. And you may not get results right away, but in the long term, you will win. And again, you also saying those nice words about trusting you contact mapping. It's about buying you. I didn't buy contact mapping. I bought Tom because I knew he was on my show, huge value giver. Even when he didn't want anything, he always said nice things to me, made me feel good when you're least expecting it. And then Adrian, just like the fact I didn't know much about you, but it's again, if Tom's a superstar, right, his son can't be like a super loser. It's got to be somewhat decent. And then you pass the test. You follow up and you follow up. I said no to you a few times. You didn't take it personally. You just followed up very professionally. And I think that's what our profession is, right? Because everyone can say their company's the best. And if you're in a company, your leader's doing well and you're not, it's because it's the same product, everything's the same. It's you. And so if you just show up consistently, think long-term, and be a person like what Tom said before, give value. And the worst time to reach out to someone is when you need someone. The best time to reach out to people is when you don't need anything. You don't need to, the best time to meet new people is when you have tons of other prospects to talk to, right? And just thinking long term.
And the key to the deal, and I'm looking at my phone, so I went to my app, I looked at my phone. On July 1st, it was my birthday. Simon Chan called me on the phone and sang happy birthday to me. I mean, it was the most beautiful, beautiful thing, and it was insane. Actually, he sent me a video. September 10th, I wrote him a note. I said, I love you. And I spoke about the things that Simon loves most, which is his wife and his beautiful kids. On October 15th, I wrote him another note. He responded instantly, very, very nicely. On October 18th, same game, because he actually sang to my son Adrian on his birthday, which was the 18th. And then my rotation changed. So then on November 18th, I put it a month out. We talked again with Simon Chan. On December 18th, I sent him a note again. And the reason I'm telling all you guys this is Simon and I are not deeply in business together. He is one of a small handful of generic trainers that I endorse with every fiber of my body. I have no problem sending people to him, but I'm not exactly on his speed dialer because it's generational. I'm 50 years older than him, and he likes my son better. But he's still somebody I deeply respect, and he deserves to be on a 1 month rotation with me. Most people are on a 3 because I want him to know every month that he's doing good in the world. And I don't know how many people have you on a 12 times a year rotation just to say they love you. But you got to take that as a huge compliment from a guy like me that knows what a difference you're making. You put your money in, you put your education in, you put your reputation in to changing the world. And I want you to know we appreciate and respect and see that in you, which very few people are at that caliber with us.
Oh, you're always so nice saying the words. Well, I just want to. This sounds like, you're saying nice things. I'm saying nice things to you, but there's a lot of lessons here, right? Like, it's networking is like a bank account. You're making deposits, and what Tom does every time, he adds up to the bank deposit. Whoa, Tom is super, super cool. And just to let you know, even doing the show, I run a group, purpose-driven networkers, where it's where I hang out, and we do a lesson of the day. We prospect together 11 times a week. This actually conflicts with that schedule, and I never changed. This is the only show I've actually changed that lesson for.
Thank you.
Because I know you couldn't change. Normally, I just want to be on the show because it's 5 p.m. Eastern. I normally never change it because Tom Chenault has made so many deposits in that networking bank account.
All right, we got to go to a break. So we're going to come back right after this. This is the Genesis Communication Network. And I don't know that Richard Brooke is listening. He probably is because he has no life in Hawaii. So he's probably listening, and now he's going to have to listen to all the survivalist commercials if he's on the radio. But if he's live, he gets to hear us goof around and talk about him. We'll be back right after this. And we're back. How you doing?
You are not helping their ad spot sales on the radio, by the way.
Oh, that's okay with me. They're not going to kick me off. He and I go way, way back, and I love him. It's Ted Anderson, and he is a great guy. Richard Brooke's a great guy. He's a big fan of you, Simon Chan. You need to know that. Richard Brooke loves you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So I respect him a lot for he's a legend.
Well, yeah, he's like a father to me.
The legend of legends.
Yeah, I love the guy. All right. There's an opinionated man. He's like you. He'll bust me for the whole first segment about something I haven't done. Especially looking down at my phone, it makes him crazy. Go ahead.
He loves it when you.
Oh, he loves it when I do that.
Oh man.
Did we just hang out until the commercial break? Until
That's what we're
Yeah,
doing.
we're
hanging
we're
out
hanging.
now.
This is where we get to tell jokes and
We have our sponsor.
hard driving sponsor. So I'm going to plug one thing actually. So on Thursday we're doing a heck of a webinar. So this Thursday, and of course I'm forgetting what time it is off the top of my head. I think it's at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. But this Thursday midday we are doing a webinar on how to build a network that pays in 2021. And it is going to be super cool. So if you go to contactmapping.com/webinar, it's a free webinar, but it is going to be powerful. It is going to be hilarious. And
it's attended. You got so many registrations
yeah,
already.
it's
actually
almost full. We're running out of space on it, but it's going to be awesome.
And how much does it cost?
$0.
What's the website?
Contactmapping.com/webinar.
Contactmapping.com
/webinar.
/webinar. All right, good. I got it. All right, everybody. I don't know. Thank you.
Good. I know.
Am I in it?
I think so.
All right.
I
good.
hope so.
Okay, I'll be there.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so it's exciting, and we just got off, just a little bit of a sidebar here. We just got off Clubhouse right before this, which if you haven't gotten in and played around on that thing yet, it is crazy.
It is like 1963 when your mom and dad had the party line because they couldn't afford the private line, and you could just jump in and eavesdrop on everybody talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. That's what it is. It is unbelievable. We just had our very first one. We had Higdon. All these people showed up. Lisa Grossman, Ray Higdon, Haley Hobson, Rob Sperry.
Brian Fryer.
Yeah, it was insane.
crazy.
Michelle Eldridge. It was Leslie Hebert. It was unbelievable. Lynn Cerrone. Sean Murphy was there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane.
Lisa Grossman and Haley
Yeah.
Hobson. It was wild.
So that was, it's crazy.
But this is a little history lesson for you and I, Simon. What is the party line? I've never heard about this before. I think I know what you mean, but
When you were
in the Alexander Graham Bell age.
Yeah, he was my next door neighbor, Alexander Graham Bell. Came along and invented this telephone. And so all the people had to share a line, and there was this lady with curlers in her hair and spray, and she'd sit there with these buttons, and she'd have everybody plugged in on this switchboard, but everybody was plugged into a party line because they didn't have one line for one person. So you had to wait till they got off the party line in order for you to make your call. But then everybody on the party line could listen. It was insane. And that was what my childhood was like, and that's how we learned all the dirt on our neighbors.
That is actually the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, look it up.
That's wild. Clubhouse is like the party line.
Yeah, I Love Lucy had a party line. Pamela Ann Schwartz said that.
There we
Yeah,
go.
people
All
are.
right.
Yeah, Joanne Smith. She must be like me. Oh yeah, I met her yesterday. She's a dinosaur too. Hello,
Charming.
Joanne.
All
That's
right,
one of
we're
our
coming.
listeners.
Good thing they have technology because I lost you already by the party line switching and stuff.
Oh, that's too funny. All right, we are back. It is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. We've got the great Simon Chan from MLNNation.com here. And I'm telling you what, this guy is amazing. He is a true hardcore trainer at a world-class level that I trust. And I've never, ever heard a bad word about this guy in my life. He is a pure generic trainer and doing it the right way. And if you do anything in your life, you want to be in the foxhole with him. Wouldn't you agree?
I completely agree. And Simon, I was thinking about this because, it's amazing watching what, podcasts are everywhere and everyone is doing them now. And it's just the rage. And what number episode are you on now for the MLM Nation podcast?
We just came out 635.
635. So
Almost
this guy
6 years. Our 6-year anniversary is coming up.
6-year anniversary.
Crazy.
That is pretty
Crazy. And you were episode 200.
I
Right,
know.
Tom?
I was a huge honor. I still listen. People listen to that all the time and call me on the phone. I mean, that was a long time ago. Probably 4 years. Didn't you
Long
have
time ago. That was definitely 2016. 2015, 2016,
Cool.
2016. Yeah, the show started 2015. So almost 6 years. In March, would be 6 years.
Where'd you go to college?
Columbia.
Columbia University.
Columbia, the country. No, I'm just kidding. Columbia University, yes.
What was
Not
your-
that I was smart. My parents just pushed me to study.
What was your
And
major?
I got in.
What
I
was your-
majored in BS. That's what I majored in.
I got a BS. Okay, good. And what's so crazy
No,
about
poli-sci. I was going to be a doctor to follow my dad's footsteps. And I realized I wasn't very, Asians are supposed to be good in science and math. And then I realized halfway in college, I was the 1%, the one Asian that wasn't good in science and math, not doing too well. So I just did poli-sci. I like political science, wars, history.
So here's a kid that went to Columbia University, very prominent family, builds a network marketing business, gets out of it. His family thinks he's finally going to go straight and go to medical school. Instead, he flips it right over, takes all of his money, and builds himself an unbelievable facility and business, training people because he knew he could make more of a difference there than in the business he was building. Even that commitment, my hat's off to you, Simon, because you didn't have to do it. You did it because you want to, and you work your fingers to the bone, and it's hard work, isn't it?
Absolutely hard. Much harder than network marketing, but it's about having a different purpose. I got into network marketing because I read Purpose Driven Life by Eric Worre, and after doing the 40 days and 40 chapters, about God's purpose for me is to have a positive impact as many lives as possible. And Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I felt that got me into network marketing. And then afterwards, it was just like having a different purpose. I felt that my company, even though I was making an impact, was really a drop in the bucket of the entire network marketing profession, right? The direct selling is huge. And I thought that, hey, this is my calling. I dabbled in coaching a little bit. Then I realized I want to see if this was what I wanted to do. And felt like God spoke to me in late 2012, which I can't believe was like almost 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, to go full time. So I've been full time coaching trainer for 8 years.
And the impact of God's impact, but the impact through encountering Rick Warren's work in the Purpose Driven Life. I mean, that has continued to really impact your life and to inform everything that you've done, even to this day, hasn't it, Simon?
Yeah, it's because in this profession, it's not just about the money and the. I mean, I would say the money wouldn't be the top three. The first most rewarding thing is the fulfillment of seeing how you grow. Like, I'm a shy, quiet Asian kid. I never thought, ironically, all the classes I required in Columbia, it was really brutal. They had a core curriculum where you had to read like a book a week. I never read any books. You just read I could barely read to keep up the Cliff Notes. But then you had the class participation was 25%. The best I got was like a B minus because I never participated. I'll maybe speak up one time. So I never expected me to be able to speak and empower others. And network marketing brought it out of me. So I think that's the most fulfilling thing, be able to do things I never thought was possible. And then number two, it's just seeing the lives change. Very rewarding seeing people change. And number three is it's the network, right? Like how we are connected because of this. I'm thinking if I was at a job, what would I be doing right now? I mean, same colleagues, having, maybe I have a good time. I like my job, but definitely wouldn't be the impact. I definitely wouldn't go through the personal growth and being able to travel and do different things.
That's such a huge thing. And you're exactly right. The life that you have been able to create for you and your family, the lives that you have been able to touch by doing what you're doing. I mean, there's just such a huge, wave of ripples that you have been able to create through what you've done with MLM Nation and the way that, it's not just a platform, right? That it's pouring into people's lives. And so we'll talk a little bit more about how you do that after the break. So we're going to take a quick break and go to commercial. So you're listening to the Network Marketing Leadership Show on the Genesis Communication Network, and we will be right back after this.
All right, Adrian. Okay, we're back. Okay, so Adrian, what I want you to do is open up a clubhouse with just you and I as mods.
All right.
And we'll put it right here.
There we go.
And let people listen behind the scenes. It'll be hilarious. So we're going to just play with it, man. You're always that was an idea from Lisa Grossman. So what we're going to do is we've got a microphone right here with Simon on this commercial. And so we're going to do the radio show on Clubhouse right now. So what Adrian's going to say is behind the scenes on the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Simon Chan, Tom Chenault, and Richard Brooke. No, Adrian Chenault. And it's going to be unbelievable. And people are going to flip out. And then we'll say it was sponsored by Contact Mapping, so Adrian doesn't fire me.com.
I think we're competing with our own room, though. I don't know.
Are we really?
Is
it still going pretty crazy?
So I think we better.
Oh, rats.
We better not go and try to
Look at
steal
all
people.
the people in there talking. It's out of
We
control.
were 90 minutes in when we had to leave for this, thinking it was going to be half an hour, and it was still going. So we just handed it off and let them run with it.
Yeah, we were going to shoot. And listen to who's on that show. They're Haley Hobson, Rob Sperry, Nate Forrest, Tom Shallen, Jesse Lee Ward, Brian Fryer, Lynn Serrano, Brad Hager, Michelle Edgar. I mean, just in Robert McFadden. I mean, it's just insane to me how many people want to be on these party lines. And good for them. God bless them. And I think it's a very, very cool concept. It's never going to replace the training of a Simon Chan. No chance on earth. And I almost called him Simon Brooks. Do you know who Simon Brooks is?
I do. As long as you don't call me Simon Chenault, that's fine.
Simon Chenault. That would be hilarious. That's how you would get rich.
Very high praise.
Simon Chenault. That would be hilarious. Yeah, we're changing your brand right now. I may go.
If I ever had a pen name, that's what it would be. Simon Chenault.
Oh, that's exciting.
No one would know I'm an Asian guy. I'll be perfect, and I'll be related to like Tom. So association, but I must be successful.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yep. So what do you think on commercial wise?
So Simon, I want to talk a little bit about consistency in relationship building, because I think when I think of you, consistency is really the number one word that comes up for me across everything that you do. I know what a massive exception it is to the rule for you ever to not be in your purpose-driven networkers right now doing what you do, because you are just like, you can set your watch by Simon being on when he says he's going to be on, being there at the same time. And so as you're training and coaching people who are using, building relationships to grow their business, talk about why is consistency so important, and where is it most important for you to be consistent?
Well, consistency is important because many reasons. Number one, it doesn't, aside from the fact that if you do anything consistently, you get good at it, right? But think about your prospects, their perception. Most people in the world, are they consistent, Adrian? Most people in the world.
Not at all.
They know, right? They're not, right? So whether it's working out or taking golf lessons, whatever, or exercising or losing weight, they're not consistent. So, or even network marketing, your prospects may be approached by different people before. So just the fact that you are consistent and show up every day, that immediately gets their attention. That, you must be doing well. You must be different, right? Like, you don't need to make $1. You just show up every day and keep going. People either, number one, think that, wow, your business is working. Basically, by the way, that's how I trick people. I just showed up every day. And people, you're still doing that thing? You used to call that thing. And I was like, you're still doing that thing? It's been over a year. And I was like, am I dumb? They'd be, no. Then if it didn't work, why would I still be doing it? I was like, okay. So I didn't need to tell them like, this is an awesome business. You just keep showing up, right? Because most people will stop doing it. The fact that you keep going, that gets your prospects' attention. Most prospects, they're going to say no the first time because the timing is not right. But eventually, when they do need what you have, when they are interested in the time, they'll come back to you because you've been showing up all the time. And the second thing is, if you want to get anyone who's successful, no one likes a one-hit wonder, right?
True.
No, and then you can be bad, you can be terrible, but as long as you keep going, people know that even if you've never had success, people are like, wow, this person's going places because he has perseverance. And they will actually, a lot of people end up buying you. Just like the way I bought into contact mapping because I bought you two guys, right? If you start showing up all the time, even though you're not having results, you keep going, and you're so passionate about that vision, people start following you.
That's exactly it. Take us back.
All right, contactmapping.com/Tom. /webinar. So here's the deal. Adrian doesn't think I work. So so now I figured out a way for me to have a tracker. So I have some impact. So if you do download contact mapping and you put /Tom, it goes to Adrian and he gets a note, Tom told somebody, because I'm telling you, I've never had a boss like this in my life. We are back. It is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. We've got Adrian Chenault, we've got Simon Chan, and me. And I am telling you one thing right now, if you do anything today, you want to plug in to what Simon has going on. If you're a brand new network marketer, he's going to be able to get you started. If you're a seasoned network marketer that's hit that wall because you slipped into the management mode, which so many people do, he's going to get you back to basics, and you're going to be the person that you used to be, and your business is going to flourish again instead of die on the vine. Agree?
Totally agree. And one of the things, I want to talk about purpose-driven networkers, because one of the things that I see Simon do incredibly well, and I talk to guys like Jared Krebs, who just loves you, can't say enough great things about you. There's so many folks who you have impacted, and you have created this space where you're not just talking at people, you're not just, you give them the lesson of the day, but you're actually saying, let's come together and let's do the work together. So talk about what Purpose-Driven Networkers is, and talk about how you arrived at the power of doing the work together, because I think that's one of the things that really makes what you bring to the table special and unique, Simon.
Well, purpose-driven networks goes back to my purpose, God's purpose for me is to have a positive impact as many lives as possible. And I think back, I'm actually born to show purpose is greater than money. I know both of you have one of those. Both of you are members of purpose-driven networkers. So it goes back to, purpose is greater than money. And if you really, network marketing, I think it's changed so much now. Like even you talk, when we're off air, talk about the Clubhouse app and all this stuff. There's so much training out there, right? Which is awesome. I mean, some of the back there have some old CDs from like Jim Rohn and stuff. I remember the first CD set I bought from Jim Rohn was like $100, and I listened to it like 50 times. Like, it was, by the way, it was really stepping outside my comfort zone to spend $100, because before then, the only CDs I bought was like maybe, $11.99, $12.99, buy like a CD to listen to. Now I'm paying $100 for a CD. I'm like, for like a 10 CD set. But I listened to it over and over and over again, right? Because it was $100. But now, like, you can go to YouTube or Facebook or anywhere and get that type of quality training anywhere. But what people are lacking is, again, it's the lack of taking action, the lack of consistency, lack of accountability. And so with purpose-driven networkers, like, what do network marketers really need, right? Because if you want great training, you can get it anywhere. We have great trainers out there. But what people need is someone to help them do it together and make them. It's like there's gyms out there, but what do people really need? A trainer that pushes them. Because when you have a trainer that pushes them, and when you show up together, it's just like if you go to the gym, like, let's go to the gym. I think most gyms are closed now, but back when they were open, you may not show up, but if you're meeting a friend there, increases the chance to show up. And if you're meeting 5 friends there, and you definitely don't want to be the only out of 5 that doesn't show up, right? You'd be like the lazy ass or the loser who doesn't show up. You're definitely going to show up, and you're going to push yourself harder. So we created this culture there where every day, 11 times a week, where we show up in the morning. It's only 15 minutes. And you asked me during the break, like, what do you need to be consistent with? You need to be consistent with the income producing activities. Not consistent scrolling on feed, not consistent watching trainings, because I think there's so much trainings out there. Your teams, your companies have great trainings already, but consistent in the income producing activities, like setting up, like what Tom was talking about, setting up follow-ups, touching base with people even when you don't need them, right? Following up with people, sending out invites, sending out presentations. But sometimes it can be scary. But when we do things together, you're going to push yourself harder. So that's the whole concept. And then here's the lesson of the day, like a 3-4 minute nugget of lesson, because I want to keep the training short. But that's evolved. People love it. And it's where I hang out most of the time. I enjoy doing it.
That is so cool. And, I think the biggest thing is it's only 15 minutes, right? If you will consistently say, I'm going to use those 15 minutes as my launching point in my business every day to make sure that I'm taking action every single day in a way that's going to move my business forward, that 15 minutes can be enough to have a transformative effect, right? You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours and hours on your business to make progress in your network marketing business. If you do it consistently every single day, very small chunks can make a huge difference, right?
I get up.
Huge small chunk.
What's that?
No, I'm sorry.
No,
You know what?
I am
I'm sorry.
such a creature of habit. I am It is sick how consistent I am in the morning. I have my day staged so that like 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm done. Because I start it really, really early before any of you kids get up. You're probably not even home yet. Old people get up in the middle of the night. I hate to break it to you. And it's pretty cool because I can get so much work done. And I've got this routine that is so bad to the bone that includes my AA meeting. So it is unbelievable what I accomplished because I set this non-negotiable schedule in place and I do it every day, come rain or shine. And everybody knows it now. Nobody tries to bust into it because they know that I'm not going to change my routine for them. And it works like a charm. I mean, the company owner, Steve Wallach, doesn't call between 7:30 and 8:30 Mountain Time. They know I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous. It is that rigid, and the world will wait for me, and I finally figured that out and stay consistent and true to my word and my integrity like Simon's talking about, and everything changes for the better.
So true.
You brought up a really important thing there. Like when you wake up, you're on the offensive, right? You have your agenda, your AA meeting, your other things you have to do. It's the same. I wake up at 4:50 in the morning. I have my pep talk. I'm on an agenda. I don't check any emails or text messages until at earliest 7 a.m. So at least 2 hours, because I have a thing. I go on the pep talk. I just go live. I work on my purpose-driven network as we prospect for 15 minutes. I'm working on a book that's coming out this year. I'm working on that. Working on major projects, right? Networking, following up, singing happy birthdays. All that stuff is done before 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I normally, unless it's an exception, I check messages. Normally, I check my messages after 8 a.m. But normally, those are things that have to be done. And I think, 15 minutes of business is pretty simple. Everyone can wake up 15 minutes earlier. Everyone can take 15 minutes during a lunch break. Instead of watching the news, gossiping, spend 15 minutes on doing the income-producing activities, and spend 15 minutes, stay up 15 minutes later, and do that. It doesn't require much time. But you can't be multitasking. You can't be multitasking. There's so many studies that have been done that show multitasking makes you dumb. And I know it's difficult because these phones are great, but they're weapons of mass distraction.
Yeah.
Right? I want to do something fun. There's so many studies you can Google about multitasking. And when I say multitasking, income producing means if you're following up, follow with 10, 20 people in 15 minutes. When you're sending out invites, send out invite. And someone replies back to you, don't reply back to them. Get your follow-ups, get everything done before you reply back. Because if you reply back to someone immediately, what happens is you spend all day talking to one person. And then when the one person says no to your business, you're like, oh, you feel defeated, right? Go out there. So when we work, we just like, hey, the goal is not to get a sign-up. The goal is like, see if you can send out 5 invites in 5 minutes. Get that done, right? If you get that done, someone replies back, then you can reply back. But you have to do that. Because our brains cannot switch back and forth. And I'll give you a perfect example. I want both of you to do this, right? How multitasking makes you dumb. In sports, like you can't be weightlifting and then running and then playing volleyball for 5 minutes, do yoga for 3 minutes, shoot some basketball. You can't jump back and forth. But I'll show, this is something fun. Count to 10 really quickly. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Say the first 10 letters really quickly. Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P.
Okay? Say the first number and then the letter. Like 1A, 2B, 3C. Do that really quickly.
1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5.
Hey, I just made you all dumb. Both of you dumb.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Multitasking doesn't work. So if you're sending out invites, do that. Don't send invites and look at scroll your feeds. Right? And another thing is you have a great app like contact mapping. The night before, plan out who you're going to reach out to. Because when you have that precious 15 minutes, you don't want to sit there, let me look at the news feed. Who should I reach out to? Then all of a sudden the 15 minutes are gone, the kid's coming, you got to go to work, you got to do this. But if you spend 5-10 minutes the night before just planning things out, look at your content mapping, look at who you're going to follow up, strategic plan it out. So when you have that 15 minutes in the morning, you're in go mode.
That's so brilliant. And it's so true, right? You can launch 30 conversations in 5 minutes and then be busy and doing stuff the rest of the day because you have spun up those conversations and you're having income producing conversations the rest of the day versus you get in this loop of talking to one person and you only spun up one conversation all day and then you get on the news and all that other junk. And
Yeah, because most people, they talk too much to too few people. You got to talk very little to lots of people. That's the key. And I highly believe in the subconscious mind. That's something I teach, right?
Great.
Right? Subconscious mind. It's like, before you go to bed, if you start looking at who you're going to write down, make a note of, go through your contact mapping app, go write down who are you going to reach out to, write on a piece of paper, and when you go to bed, your brain actually starts working on it. And when you wake up, you know what to say. You know exactly when I wake up on a go mode. So one of the first things I do is I do my pep talk, right? I look at the topic I'm going to talk about before I sleep. I go to sleep, and once I wake up, my brain's ready to go. I meditate, I pull on the pull-up bar, I pray, but then I'm ready to go.
he's a beast.
He is a beast. And I need to, Marianne, we should put her on here because she will tell you that I am the most focused, most attentive man she's ever met in her life, which is exactly the opposite of the truth. I bet if I could just not multitask by design and do what Simon just said, I could save 3 or 4 hours a day. Because I spend so much time just going down rabbit holes, and poor Marianne tries to manage my life, and it's unmanageable because I will not adhere. And I'm structured, and I multitask too much. I think that's unbelievable advice for me, not necessarily for you or Marianne, but
You're multitasking of conversations.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Who told you to talk?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should go now.
You're the greatest, Marianne. Thank you very much. So, what do you got?
Yeah, it's 100% true, and it just there's so many other layers there, right? If you have all those conversations going, simultaneously or threaded, once you have fired all those missiles, so to speak, your posture is going to be better because you're not having to pretend you're so busy talking to other people. You really are busy talking to other people. You create this energy about yourself that is helpful to having being that person that is really going places. So that is a brilliant insight, and we got to go to break here in about 30 seconds.
But you have to admit, one thing that makes you madder than almost anything on the planet is when you are on the air with me or in a meeting with me and you say, "What do you think, Dad?" And I say I wasn't listening. It makes you crazy because I was multitasking, and so I'm officially apologizing to you too. We'll be back right after this. This is the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Adrian Chenault, Simon Chan, and the old man. We'll be right back. Holy mackerel, Richard Brooke is listening to the show. And I'm going to put this up. I don't know if you can get that on the screen or not.
Hey, Richard, I always remember your advice. You can be happy or you can be right, but you can never be both.
Yeah, he said that. And he is right about that. This is him.
He said that on my show. I still remember that. One of the best advice.
Yeah, and he is on his boat right now with his dog Marley, his beautiful wife Kimmy, and they're floating around in the ocean watching this show. So that is absolutely time, financial, life, love, freedom, which we have great respect for.
We absolutely do.
And he's a contact mapper.
Big time.
Ask June Jones.
So this is so funny to me that I have to hit on this point one more time. So speaking of not being distracted, the most maddening thing that I love about my dad is that he will not be listening to you, but he has this sort of like tape recall where he can rewind the tape. So you're talking to him, he's clearly not listening, and then you'll cuss him out and say, "You're not listening to me," and he'll go, "Yeah, I was." And then he'll like replay the tape. There's no cognition at all involved, but he can somehow regurgitate to you what you just said, and you just want to.
I can do it. I've got a 15-minute feedback, and Brooke is out in the middle of the lake in the ocean listening to you. He just said that online. That is really, really, really cool. Yeah, I can do that, and it makes him so mad because I can tell him exactly what he said, even though I didn't hear it.
You have a part of your brain that we don't have. There's a little part of the brain, it's like a tape recorder brain.
Yeah, right there. No, Simon, actually, that happens to be a hearing aid. And I'm very proud of these hearing aids, by the way. Do you know why? It proves I wore my jaw out. I wore my ears out before my jaw, which meant I listened so much better than I spoke. For the last 69 years, my ears wore out, but not my jaw. So I'm wearing these things with pride.
I just came up with an idea. since we're all entrepreneurs, imagine you came out with something that actually was like a hearing aid, but it's like invisible, right? Like clear. And you multitask, and it's like Adrian's talking to you, and you can just like tap and records. And then like, well, you wouldn't need it, Tom, but someone like me, I would need it, right? So if I want to do something else, and Adrian's talking to me, I just tap. It's kind of you tap and records, and then afterwards, I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta talk to Adrian. What do you say? I just tap back, and it'll play it back in my ear.
What is
Secret
so
recorder.
So these things, okay, so this is the contactmapping.com commercial. So these things port to your phone. So I have dinner with Denise, and she's on this side. So Denise thinks I'm listening, but I've still got something going on in this ear at a low volume. So I'm listening to this too, and it is an absolute marriage ruiner at a high level. So yeah, I have completely abused these things too. So that's that simple. Yeah.
Maybe we should just try being present in the moment. See how that goes.
I have got to learn that. Contactmapper.com. What's up?
Yeah. So
Stacy Todd Clark, we love too.
Oh
She's
my
on
goodness,
here.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yes.
Unbelievable.
Hey,
We love-
Stacy, we're glad you're here.
What's up, Stacy?
Yeah,
Oh
she's
my
a good
goodness.
woman. I don't know why. She does so many different things. She's the sister of Sandy Ellsberg. She's got like 9 jobs. She's got just crazy stuff going on. She's got a restaurant. And on top of that, she's also manages a very, very prominent and famous network marketer who I'm not allowed to say his name, but he might be out in the middle of the ocean having lunch with his wife and his dog. So unbelievable. So she's unbelievable. So take it away.
Go to contactmapping.com/free and go see what the magic is all about. We're coming right back.
I'm not giving you a refund on your advertising. And we're back. It is Tom Chenault. It is Simon Chenault and Adrian Chenault.
That's it.
We are very, very happy to have him here. He's been an unbelievable guest so far.
Unbelievable.
You have anything that you want to? How do they find you? How do they find
You can go to mlnation.com or the social media, Instagram, Simon W. Chan, or Simon Chan on Facebook. You'll be able to find me.
That is awesome. And Denise Chenault is here,
I know it.
my dear stepmother. She figured out that Tom was faking like he has any capability of being present in the moment, and she came on to set the record straight.
That's exactly.
You know, she only, hey, Denise, I know you only came on after Tom talked about the ear thing.
That's so cool.
Oh my goodness. So Simon, one of the things that I love about you, in addition to the contribution you make to the profession, is the contribution you make to your kids. You are the epitome of a coach in their sports. And talk about what have you learned coaching kids sports and how that has helped you apply back into the way you coach professionals.
That's a really good question. I love coaching, working with the kids, because that's something I wanted to do. But my dad, that's why I think purpose is greater than money. I grew up with upper middle class. My dad had money, was a doctor, have 3 Mercedes, big house, but never had much time with us. So it's really awesome that, by the way, network marketing has been awesome, but there's no such thing as time freedom. When you have kids, there's no freedom.
Yeah.
You get time flexibility, but not time freedom. When the kids come in, there's no freedom. When they have to change their poop diaper, there's no freedom. But that's a really good question. I think that the main thing is that we are all born, I believe, God bless us, we're all born with unlimited potential. And our profession leads to that potential. But what holds us back is the programming, the things that happen to us. And, could be someone said no to us, or we didn't do well in school, or some girl didn't like you, some guy ditched you, or whatever. All these negative things all of a sudden make us think that we have to live a life a certain way, right? So for me, I was a shy, quiet Asian kid. I'm still shy. I don't like to. I didn't think I could speak because I don't know what happened. Something, English was my 3rd language. I'm sure I remember kids making fun of me. When I used to play football, if I dropped a pass, they'd call me Jerry Fried Rice, names like that. And so maybe that made me shy, right? I was afraid to speak up. But one of the things I realized about kids is that they can grow a lot quicker because they don't have the limiting beliefs yet. A lot of them don't have the limiting beliefs because they haven't gone through the years of history and the events, right? So if I tell a kid to visualize, they're like, all right, I'm going to do it. And boom, a kid that can't hit well all of a sudden gets a big hit, right? Because they can learn to visualize. Well, I tell an adult, they'd be like, oh yeah, but that doesn't work. Oh yeah, they'll do it, but they're not really doing it. So in other words, you can say they're not as coachable because they let adults let their past And your past doesn't dictate your future, but they let that. And the kids is easier because they're younger and they're fresher and their minds are more placid, like flexible learning. They're more coachable.
Boy,
But as adults, we could, if we realize that's a limitation, we can't say, I'm not like that. No, you could be like that. Like you weren't like that. I would say yesterday is history. Everyone can write this down. Yesterday is history. Today is a mystery. Yeah. And tomorrow is your legacy. Right? Your past doesn't dictate your present or the future. Kids are much easier to let that go. Well, adults, they tend to linger or they start giving excuses why they have to be a certain way.
Oh, I constantly, so my past is, I'm supposed to file my past into my past, but something is wrong with me. And I always file my past into my future and then go live it again. And that is insanity. And you're 100% right, because those little kids get over it just like that. But us people with so much baggage, so to speak, file our past into our future all day long. And the fact that you're actually able to recognize that, teach people not to do that. Because if I could just change that fork in the road, if I would have changed it many, many years ago, there's a pretty good chance I wouldn't have been this crazy alcoholic that took me a long time to get back on track, because I was filing my past and all the trouble into my future and just living it again over and over again. And fortunately, he was born and straightened me out. Thank you.
It's remarkable, and I think that visualization piece is a big part of it, right? You know, Richard Brooke here with us is such a, you know, one of the people who I've learned a lot about that from is, you know, when you can envision yourself doing these things, and it, you know, it can be grandiose visioning, but I think it's really visioning, you know, envision yourself doing the thing tomorrow that you dream you could do but feel like you can't, and you're gonna create that path for yourself to walk on. And I think there's, you know, the baseball example, thinking you can't hit, giving them this vision that they can, and they walk out there and do it. We can do that in our adult lives, in business, in our family, and all these things. If we envision it, we can go and make it happen.
Yeah, you know, and baseball is great because it's a sport of all rejection, right? Strike. I always teach the kids. And same thing in basketball, same thing in football. Like in baseball, what's the most important pitch? It's the very next pitch. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter if you hit a home run last game. It doesn't matter if you struck out. The only important pitch is the very next pitch. And it's like, as entrepreneurs, the only thing that's important is your next action. Like, what are you going to do after you watch the show? What is the next thing you're going to do? You're going to go scroll on the feed, or you're actually going to do some of the stuff that Tom and I, you know, Adrian, we talked about? It's your very next action step. And Marilyn, you know, the quote was, yesterday is history, today is a mystery, and tomorrow is your legacy.
Wow. That is really, really good. And what did Denise write? She said something profound.
And that's why we need to heal our past stories, so we don't have a bunch of 4 and 5 year olds ruling the world. That's so true.
Yeah, true story. Yeah. Was that a political comment?
It wasn't until now.
All right, you guys. This is very fun. You know, having Simon Chan is an honor of all honors. MLMnation.com. Please go. Next week, do we have Pat Quinn next week? Marianne, did he confirm?
No, we had to move him, and we're waiting on Mark Lindell, I think it is.
So Pat Quinn, that storytelling machine that works with Pete Vargas and Eric Worre and Grant Cardone. I mean, he shows people how to shape their stories. He's coming on, so that'll be really, really cool too. Are we out of here yet?
Yep.
All right, we're gone. That was a great out.
And that's the end of the radio show.
So Simon, that was tremendous. I was thinking about the lady that asked me about my hearing aids. Don't pass go. Don't go to your hearing aid guy. Get the test and go straight to Costco. Hearing aids at the hearing aid guy are $6,000 with $5,000 in commission. Hearing aids at Costco are $2,000 with $1,000 in commission, guaranteed for 6 months, no questions asked. And if you lose them, they give you new ones. I mean, I am telling you, I went through the gamut of this thing when I first did it, because she was selling me so hard at the $6,000 number. I'm a salesman, so I smelled a pony somewhere. So I immediately started finding some people that wore hearing aids, and finally got myself to Costco. And if you're economical, not cheap like me, go to Costco, and you will thank me forever. So
tell them Tom sent you.
Tell them Tom.
That's an interesting thing. Like most people, they oversell. right?
Yeah.
They sell too hard. I think that's like a skill. Like once you know you have the person, just let them, and they'll buy. But when you sell too hard, like when you bring up that story, I almost got ripped off by I used to take my car to a dealer to get serviced, right? My Suburban, and the guy was selling so hard. Like I was about to spend $9,000 on a new engine to fix the engine. And then and he was good. He's like, I was like, what would happen if I don't get it fixed? Because it wasn't my budget that month to spend $9,000, but it was. Well, two things would happen. You can go for like another 2,000 miles, no problem. Or you can go for 200 miles and it breaks down in the middle of the freeway in the 405 with your kids in the back, and you got to deal with that. I'm like, oh man, and my kid was only like 1 year old. Like my youngest was a couple months. I got like a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I don't want that to happen, right? So I'm like, okay. So all right, I'm probably going to do it like in next week or next month, the latest. So while I'm going out there paying my bill just for a checkup, and he's just checking to me. Are you sure okay? You sure you're right? I'm like, why are you? I've been here many times. Why are you so overly concerned about my well-being now? And that was like the alarm bells selling too hard. And afterwards, you know what? My local guy here in the gas station fixed it for $400.
Right. And the hearing aid lady, she goes, you wear these things around here and you're going to love them. So I go, I want to think about that. And she goes, oh, you do? Well, you can wear these home and bring them back tomorrow, and your wife's going to just love you to death. And I swear I just knew something was wrong. And I'm such a chicken that I couldn't tell the lady I wasn't going to buy them. So she goes back there to get something else to pitch me a little more, and I made a beeline for the desk, and I just handed them to the lady at the front desk and said, you know what, I don't think I'm ready for these things right now. I think I can hear perfectly, and I got the hell out of there. Because that's how much she scared me, because I just knew there was something going on.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
What'd you say? I took them both out. Unbelievable. You guys, Simon, we love you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon. You were fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Anything else? We're good?
No, yeah, we're good. We're good, man. We can't wait to see you. And what's the website to get in that call? Can I pay money to get on that 15-minute call every day?
I'll get you in. Adrian's in there. I'll get you in.
Purpose-driven networkers.
I want to sign up for that. I want to pay. Yeah. I'm in.
Want to pay? I'll send you a link if you want to pay. You want to make a donation?
Yeah.
But but you can.
Yeah, I want to pay. And I'm very, now you need to Google who my cousin is, because it was clear. You didn't have any idea who my cousin is. The famous.
No, I didn't know. Wait, I didn't know he was your cousin, but I definitely know of him.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know of him. I live in California.
Radio guy.
Yes, I do know of him. I do know of him. Wikipedia right now.
All right. Love you.
We love you.
All right.
See you soon.
I appreciate you guys.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody for listening. That was fun.